Hello everyone, it's Natasa from Treasure Books. This video was supposed to be about creating whimsical rainbows, kind of like what we did with creating whimsical houses and also whimsical mason jars. Look at this, oh my goodness, the fun that you can have. But this video turned into creating a whole bunch of journals. So from this video, you can expect a whole bunch of things. First, we're going to do, of course, creating the whimsical rainbows. We're going to do it 2 different ways. Then we're going to discuss how to make your rainbows pretty. So we'll talk about all the different little techniques that you can do, little doodling techniques that you can do to make them special. And after we do the rainbows, then we're going to move on to making a journal. We're making this one from scratch, including the cover, the pages, the binding, the signature, all of it. Everything is done from scratch in today's video. So I hope you stick around, and without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, let's start with creating some whimsical rainbows. This is the first way I'm going to show you, where you just grab a piece of paper and you can draw yourself a rainbow, any shape that you like. You can have them more like kind of this way, whatever whatever you prefer. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're doing whimsical rainbows. So here we go. There's just one example. You can do something a bit wider like this. Completely up to you. You can have thin lines, you can have thick lines, whatever you want. Next thing you want to do is color this in. So you can use paint, you can use textures, watercolors, totally up to you. In all of these examples that are on screen now, I used paint. But for this video, I'm going to use textures. I haven't tried this before. This is nothing special. It's not the real thing. It's not, what are they called, Coptic. This is just something I got on eBay. I'm just checking the color here. This one's pretty dry. All right, here we go. I've chosen my colors and now I'm simply going to color it in. So like I said, if you're using paint, then you just use paint. And if you're using watercolor, As you can see, it doesn't look very exciting at this stage, and this is what I love about this process. It doesn't have to look any good yet. You can also do just free-form rainbows. You don't have to draw anything in advance. You can just do stuff like this. All right, so that's the painting process, or watercolor or textile, whatever you use. Really simple, straightforward. Anyone can do this. Next, I'm going to show you how to do it with paper, and then we'll come back to the next step. So with paper is actually a lot quicker to do. And these examples that I'm showing you now is all paper. So there was no actual painting on my part, just cutting out paper. And I'll show you a really quick and easy way to do it. So find paper in your stash that you really like, that you think is going to look good, that you can use your little offcuts that you have from previous projects, or you can use a notepad. I mean, one of these. I use all sorts of stuff. I have all of these offcuts from previous projects, and I'll just go in and use whatever I think goes really well. Okay, here we go. I've chosen some papers. Probably not, they don't go so well together, but let's see if we can make it look really nice. You have your papers, you start cutting a rainbow shape from the smallest to largest. So let's say this is my first layer. This will be my second one. I might go with this one next. This is giving me like fairy door vibes. I think it's this one that mutes everything down. And you know what else looks really quite nice? White. You can have a bit of white in there, which I don't, but it looks very nice. Now that you've cut out your rainbow, you want to glue it down, but there's actually one thing that I want to do before I do that. I just want to show you, you can play around with, you can do something like this and just cut off the excess down here later. So you don't have to have like this perfect, this kind of a perfect look. You can do all sorts of stuff. before I start gluing them down, I like to outline each piece because I think it adds to the whimsical feel. And the way that you do that is just grab a Sharpie or any marker that you have handy, and then you just want to have something underneath. You see what I did there? You just want to place your marker against the edge of the paper and just go around. And sometimes the marker might accidentally go onto your piece. That's fine, because we can make that part of the design, if you will. I'll show you one of the pieces where I had a mistake and I included it in the design, I suppose you can say. See how it looks now as opposed to now? It just stands out more. Okay, so now that that's done, we can place them back on top of each other, and I really like this kind of a whimsical kind of a look, you know, when it's all over the place, but I like this too. Okay, next thing we're going to do is glue the pieces, but don't glue this middle part here because we'll be cutting that out next. So what I do is I just kind of apply glue, I don't know if you can see, just on the kind of on the edges there. And then as I'm going in, I apply sort of more glue towards the middle. Does that make sense? We'll just be cutting out this little part in here. So that means that on this side, like I want to apply more glue. I don't want to just do the edges. Okay, there's my rainbow. And at this point, if you want, you can leave this here. You don't have to cut it out. But if you want to cut it out, then you can just draw yourself a little outline and just cut it out. Preferably wait until the glue dries, but I can't wait right now because I'm filming, so I'm just gonna go right in. See, when it's not dry, things can kind of move. And then this is what we have, because we have layers. You can see that there. It's a little bit messy. That's okay, because we also have a Sharpie and we can just hide all of those imperfections in there. Oh, and I made a mistake. See? Oh, so now, okay, perfect. I can show you what I'm going to do with it. So at this point, I have 4 rainbows going. 2 are painted, 1 is textile, and 1 is scrapbook paper. This is quite quick, but I find that these rainbows look, for some reason, I'm not sure why, they look better once they're complete. So at this stage, you would start to add details. So first thing I want to do is draw a black line in all of these hand painted rainbows. You can see what I did there. Just a black line in between the paint. See that? Or it doesn't have to be a black line, it can be, what did I do here? Silver, black dots, you know. So we are just outlining. You might have a shaky hand and your lines are not perfect. That's fine. We can just pretend that that's the way we want it. It adds to the whimsical feel. You know, we don't want perfection. We're going for a little bit kooky. It might be a good idea to wait for the paint to completely dry. Okay, that's looking quite horrendous still, but now is where the magic happens. So now what we're going to do is start doodling. And you can go about this millions of ways. You can do circles, dots, hearts, stars, wiggly lines, squares, whatever you can think of. I will do mine on screens for you to get some ideas, but you can see here it's really not much. Like we have some dots, lines, we have some circles with some more dots, and that's, you know, that's all there is to it. We have some of these semicircles and dots, and then, you know, this is the one where I made a mistake, and then I just kind of I don't know how I feel about these little tentacles, rainbow tentacles. But you can see, like when you're looking at it up close and looking at the detail, it's really not that great, I suppose. These are the rainbow ones, but we can doodle on them as well. I mean the scrapbook paper ones. Most definitely, this is all doodling. This is all me adding little extra details. So, and here as well, this is me adding details and some white dots and just outlining the paper, you know. What I wanted to say before is when you're looking at them individually like this, really close up, it doesn't look all that great. But I think as a whole, I'm going to show you more detail later, but as a whole, it just works. It's just so beautiful. I have this book, which is where I saw how to do this particular thing here. So you don't have to have a book, but you can just Google Zentangle and you're going to get so many ideas on all of the different types of doodling that you can do. Like, look at this, just squares, lines, wiggly lines, adding extra details. Here's the one that I did over here, this one, just in case you're interested. So you do lines like this, then you add this squiggly line, then you color it in, it looks like that, and then you can add shading, and you can, you know, you can do, look at this. I'll just quickly leaf through, and I did this one as well. You can see these. I mean, I didn't have time to, you know, get into it real detail-y, but this is what I did. Kind of, it doesn't even look anything like it, but it looks fine on here. Okay, so here's the tentacle one, the one that I didn't like. That's what I did here, you see? All right, so let's start doodling. I'm going to speed all of this up because this is a very meditative process and it can take quite a while, but it's very, very enjoyable. It depends on the amount of detail that you want to add, of course. It's your time to just be creative. Okay, now I can start adding some smaller details. Dots always look good. Now you can start adding some different colors. Now I'm going to use some white paint. If you have a Posca, white Posca pen, perfect, but I have it, but it's just not working very well. So I'm just going to using some white paint, that's all. But I'm thinking maybe I can do more white dots, or is that overdoing it? It looks very kind of Arabian Nights. But I hope that you can see how from this really not so great looking drawing of a rainbow, you can transform it with little details into like something pretty cool, you know? Maybe I can add some lines. I didn't do any lines, so, well, I did do lines actually. I want to do more lines. There we go, more lines. Now I want to do more stuff. We can do more dots. Maybe I'll do some more dots on the outside of the rainbow. And as you can see, you can go into oblivion with the decorating and the adding, and let me tell you, it's very meditative, so it kind of draws you to, what am I trying to say? It makes you want to just keep going on and on and on. But because I'm going to be making a full journal in this tutorial as well, I'm going to leave it here. I will be adding a gem here because it's just begging for it. I'm actually going to leave these two and this one even because I don't have time. I won't have time to decorate all of them and doodle on them and all of that, and also make a full journal. So I'm going to leave it here with a mistake like this. You know, you can, as you've seen me doodling now, you can see that you can just, let me show you this as well here. This was also a mistake, and then I kind of like add the line. So, you know, oh, that looks like the bird is singing. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I don't think I need to do the demonstration of how to fix mistakes. At this stage, I'm going to cut this rainbow out. And remember when I said that the white looks really nice? So I'm actually including the outside here as part of my rainbow. Each step you do, the rainbow just looks better and better. And I'm gonna cut out the inside. You don't have to cut out the inside. The inside can be part of the rainbow as well. There are no rules. It's art. Perfect. Another thing that you can do with your leftover pieces of, doesn't have to be leftover, but you can draw little clouds. I'm not that great of a cloud drawer, clearly. All right, so here are my clouds. You can do something like this. Let's see, how does that look? That looks pretty cool. Yes, I like it, yes. But I'm gonna outline the clouds. Remember this? What do you think? How does that look? I think outlining, I personally like it. Even like when making journals and inking all the edges, it's just, I like doing that. It gives me a finished feel rather than just a cut out piece of paper. But I don't outline the rainbow, the white here. So, okay, here we go. You can do something like this. You can have little tassels down here hanging off. You can have little beads, you know. Perhaps something like this. You can see my handmade beads here, paper beads, and they're just hanging off of this piece here. You can have this type of thing, you know, hanging off the rainbow. How beautiful would that look? All right, so I have decided to go with the clouds. At this stage, you might want to start adding some more details. I'm gonna just give you inspiration here. I have a bird sitting there and I have two hearts. Over here, again, I just cut out some clouds and you can see I put the clouds also like above and behind the rainbow. And then I have a bird because, I mean, it doesn't make any sense that the bird would be sitting on this tiny little branch in the middle of a cloud, but where it's whimsical, you know, anything goes. So here's just a little butterfly up there. Over here, I've incorporated a word. I have some hearts. I have some die cuts behind the rainbow here. Again, a bird. I just pulled out one little box so you can see most of the ideas repeating, you know. I didn't want to go through my whole stash to be looking for the perfect pieces. So, oh, these are borders that come in the 6x6 paper pads. You know those? And they look like waves. They look like clouds. They can look whatever you want it to look like. Here I have some more die cut pieces. These are like cogs for like steampunk journal or steampunk kind of a theme, which really doesn't go with the whole rainbow thing and bird and, you know, there's a heart. But how cool does this look? Let me just say, I made 8 journals in total. 8 in total. And I did all of them yesterday. And this one here was the last one that I did and I was over it at this stage. So I'll show you what I did on the inside. It's different type of a thing that I did with the binding. But anyway, we have the hearts here and a nameplate or a book plate up the top. So you can, to me, this kind of gives me babyish vibes, like little kids, which isn't the vibe I was going for. And then this one here, love this one. Just the heart on the side and some words. Amazed with the sun. This actually came out of a book, just random words from the book. So there we have it. Some ideas on your embellishing. I thought maybe something like this might. What do we think of this? I'm not entirely sold. I'm not entirely happy. But all of this extra embellishing actually comes later when we're gluing this onto our journal cover, which is what I'm going to do now. So for my journal cover, I'm just going to go into my offcut pieces from this project. And I'm thinking that this paper, this is just me playing around with paint. I have a lot of these painty papers. In fact, most of these journal covers are made from my painty papers. Look at that. That's all acrylic paint. And so is this. Not the greatest, but, you know, and so is this. So anyway, I did promise to do a tutorial on like creating a whole bunch of these different painty papers, and I will. I'm just not gonna do it today. Okay, so just need to see if this is going to be large enough to be a cover and if it's even gonna look good. So everything seems a tiny little bit too big for this journal cover, but I'm gonna make it work. This doesn't go anymore. I actually want something to brighten everything up, something perhaps yellow, maybe not this. I'm just gonna draw a heart. Yeah, this will look good. Outline, I do like that. Maybe I can add some more fun stuff. Maybe I can add a blue heart as well. Maybe we can do some faux stitching on the hearts. Maybe something like this. All right, here we go. I'm quite happy with this. At this stage, you would take a photo so that you know what goes where. I can't take a photo because I'm filming with my phone, but I'm trying to memorize it because now we have to remove all of this stuff. I suppose you can do your cover first and then glue it all on, but anyway. All right, now I'm going to make this into a cover. And the very first thing I'm going to do is reinforce the spine. So adding a little bit of glue, well, a lot of glue by the looks of it. I'm gonna smooth all the glue down. And now apply a little bit of fabric. You can use washi tape, masking tape. Well, washi tape is not gonna really reinforce much, but you just want something on there. I'm using fabric. Okay, perfect. And now this isn't necessary, but I'm gonna add another piece of fabric on the spine on the outside as well, just for some extra interest on my journal cover. Again, apply a little bit of glue and smooth it down. I only want a little bit here at the front. And now glue the back down. Okay, perfect. So this is going to be my front. Now I'm going to go on the inside and cover the sides here. I am going to use this scrapbook paper that I have, and I'm going to cut it down to the exact size that I want. And here are my two panels that I'm going to glue down, but first I'm going to ink the edges. You can also outline like we've been outlining everything so far, or you can ink them, or you can just leave them as they are. Perfect. And now I'm going to glue everything down. Now I am planning to take this to my sewing machine, but if you are not going to sew, make sure that you apply your glue all the way to the edges. I have applied glue here, but before I actually glue it down, I forgot a step, which is adding the closure. So I'm going to pop this aside for now. Some type of an orange closure would be perfect for this journal, but I don't have anything orange, so I'm just gonna have to improvise and try something different. So I'm gonna find the approximate middle and glue my pieces down. That's one side, that's the other side. Just double check that they're in the same spot. Yep, perfect. I'm gonna apply a little bit of masking tape to hold it in place. And now I'm gonna glue this down. Okay, there's one. And the second one. Perfect. That's what that looks like, and that's the front. And now I'm going to take this to my sewing machine. Like I said, you don't have to sew. I'm going to, because I like the stitches generally, and I'm going to stitch all around the four sides, and I'll see, stitch here as well so that I have an extra stitch. I don't know, maybe I won't. I'm just going to stitch the four sides. And here we go. So stitching is done all around, and you can see how it just adds to the character of the journal, and also of course it holds everything in place. It's just, I feel safer when I'm, you know, stitching, when everything is gonna stay and not gonna go anywhere. But if you're not going to use your sewing machine, just make sure you apply sufficient amounts of glue. I'm going to trim this down, not all the way. Now, before I do the binding, I am going to finish off my cover. So this is where all of this stuff comes back in. Can't remember exactly how I had it before, but it's something like this. So I've arranged it the way that I want it. And now I'm going to start gluing things down. So I'm going to start from this very bottom piece here. You can go about this any way you want. You can do the top pieces first, and then, you know, you do whatever is easy for you. The objective is to glue stuff down. Alright, so that's all glued down and the cover is ready to go. While I'm preparing the pages for the inside, I'm going to put this under something heavy, like a thick, heavy, chunky book. I'm going to pop it right on top and let it sit under there for a little bit while I'm getting the pages ready. I have 16 pages that are folded in half here. Might be a little bit too much for one signature, and I'm only doing one signature, but I'll pop them all into a signature and see how it looks. I'm using really quite muted colors here. Perhaps for this project it'll be nice to use really colorful, beautiful, colorful paper. Speaking of which, this would be the perfect paper for this project. This is the Easter egg dyed paper, and I promised to do a tutorial, and I'm going to have a tutorial for you guys ready next week. So we're using Easter egg dyes and creating this paper. Perfect for this rainbow journal. But for now, I've created this signature, and this is just what it's gonna have to be for today. This would look quite nice on there. All right, so here's my signature, my cover. I'm just gonna double check. How's everything looking? Yep, that's looking fine. I'm not gonna be trimming any papers down. It just is what it is. But I do like this. I'm gonna glue that on straight away. Okay, the signature is ready to go. Just a quick little flip through. I'm not gonna be embellishing any of the pages right now. I'm just gonna show you what I kind of used. Okay, middle of the signature. Now I'm going to make sure everything is nice and snug and get my needle and thread ready. I'm going to use embroidery floss, and I think the green might look nice for this cover. I'm just gonna go, I don't think that's long enough. All right, I'm going with the dark green, so that's ready. Next thing I'm gonna do is poke holes, and I'm gonna do signature and cover all at once because I only have one signature. Make it nice and snug and place it exactly where I want it to go. All right, perfect. Now I'm gonna poke 3 holes, one in the middle, just there, all the way through. All right, pull that out. And before I poke my other holes, I'm gonna pop my needle through, just so that it's kind of holding everything in place. Next, I'm gonna go down the bottom there somewhere. And then up the top. And I'm keeping my pokey tool, my awl in there while I get to that hole. So we come out here. Now I'm gonna go back in here. So I'm gonna take the awl out, go back in, and it didn't go through. Sometimes it goes, you know, sometimes I'm lucky and it goes right through the signature, but this time, where did it go? Somewhere in between the pages. So let's try that again, shall we? I pop the awl back in. Sometimes it's just a matter of fiddling about. Other times it goes through with no issues. So I'll just do it this way. Through the cover first, and then remove the awl and go in through the signature. And there we are. And now we're going in through the bottom hole. Make sure everything's back in place, and then go through the cover. Tighten, grab this one here, tighten, and now we're going back in through the middle hole. And if we're lucky, it'll go right through the signature. If not, we'll have to fiddle about. And this time I was lucky. All right, pull the needle out. I'm just tightening everything Make sure it's nice and tight. Double check. That's looking good. Double check that the signature is nice and not loose, and this is loose, so tighten some more. I'm going to now tie a knot and a double knot. I might even do one of these. Create an S. This is a triple third knot, but it doesn't sit on top of the other knots, it sits next to it when we do it this way. So the threads go through and then you tighten. Perfect. We're just making sure that that's nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. You can tie a bow, you can chop it off, and that's it. The binding is done. There's my little book, my journal. I'm gonna tie a bow here. And there we have it. Done. Not done. I'm gonna add a little gem here and maybe on the clouds too. And now it's done. I don't know, maybe I overdid it with these stars, but it was just looking so white. Okay, that's our journal done. I'm going to show you the others just very quickly in case you're in need of more inspiration. I won't open them because it will take way too long. This one's got 3 signatures, and I did some fun stuff inside, like, you know, just added a few bits and pieces. And it's actually from the same paper. As you can see, it was one large piece of paper that I painted on, and now I have 2 journal covers. Now this one here, I just wanted to show you. Perhaps I can do a video on this technique. You also use the painted paper on the inside, so it's 2 papers kind of put together. And then I used a whole lot of pages in here. Okay, this is quite a large journal. So there's a lot of pages in here for one flimsy cover. I think there's like 30 folded pages in here. So what I did is I actually bound the pages on their own without binding it into the cover, because the cover, it's, you know, it's not very sturdy. So the pages were bound on their own, and then I poked 2 holes. I used my crocodile, added eyelets, one up the top, one down the bottom, and I did the same thing on the inside of the signature, and then you can see the holes, and then I threaded this ribbon through the signature, through the cover, and tied it up the top, and that's what's holding the 2 pieces together, the cover and the signature on the inside. So I've never done that before, and I thought it's going to save me time, but I don't know if it actually saved me any time. Okay, then there's this one and this one. These 2 came from also the same painted paper. This is the technique where you apply your acrylic paint onto a page, and then you put a plastic bag or Glad wrap on top, and then you smush it down. You smush it all down, and then you lift it up and you let it dry. So you get this kind of raised ridges and fun stuff. Anyway, that's what I did here. And now I have these 2 journals, and here are the rainbows. I think you've already seen the rainbows. So in this case, I've only reinforced the inside and not the outside. And what I've been doing is, if I don't have fabric on the outside, then I do an extra stitch here, just to kind of finish it off. You can see this extra stitch. But then I also did an extra stitch here as well, even though the outside is reinforced. But anyway, here's this one. Very cute. Also painted paper. I don't want to open them because it would just take way too long. But I did all of these yesterday, following the exact same steps that I've shown you today. This one here, okay, not my favorite. I am going to go in. I don't love this painty paper. It's not that great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to add gold, maybe gold paint, like gold dots all around, and make it look pretty, because at the moment it's not bad, but it can be a lot better. This one I'm not a fan because I laminated. You can see the cover is laminated. I have a little bird here, and in all honesty, it really mutes down the rainbow. You can see how that's quite muted. So I won't be doing this again. Not a fan. And lucky last, this one here. I love how this one looks. And it's got 2 signatures, and that's pretty much it. Like there's nothing else really to say about these, because I've already shown you the process. So that's it for me today. I thoroughly enjoyed this process, and in all honesty, I was planning to do a video on whimsical rainbows. All I wanted to do was the rainbows, and then talk about all the different ways that you can apply them to your projects. One of those ways being journal covers and as journal toppers. And then yesterday I decided, you know what, I just want to make journals, like whimsical kind of, kind of a thing. And 8 journals later, well now 9, here we are. So I hope that you got lots of inspiration. You can also use these on cards and all sorts of other things. Oh, I had one idea. Hang on a second. Here's a little prototype that I was testing. It's possible. When I was thinking, what can you possibly use this for? If you laminate your rainbow, or you don't even have to laminate it, you have your rainbow. And perhaps it's best to use with the ones that you paint rather than the ones that have scrapbook paper and therefore all of these layers. So you just want one layer just like this. And then if you make a little notch like this, it can be, I don't know how much I love this idea, but it's an idea. It can be like a bookmark. You can also have it the other way around. So anyway, obviously I didn't pursue this idea, but you might want to. So there it is. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did you enjoy this project, and are you going to be making it yourself? And are you looking forward to this video? Hopefully next week. I want to get it done before Easter. Easter's next week, so I better get on to that. Well, you might want to prepare your rainbows in advance, and then when you have your colorful papers from your Easter dyeing, you can make whimsical junk journals and just, have the time of your life. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.